Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. 31% reduction in major crimes in Jamaica. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 14th February 2023. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. The Commissioner of Police of Jamaica has announced a reduction in major crimes across the island. He says the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, is committed and will be working tirelessly to protect the nation, noting several changes the sector will undergo. Nasika Aliman of CVM Live reports.
A reduction in all major crimes for 2023. That's the word from Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson at a JCF media briefing Tuesday.
As it relates to major crimes, at the end of January, overall, major crimes are down by 31% when compared to last year. Murders were down by 34%, shootings down by 26%, rapes down by 47%, robberies down by 44%, and break-ins were down by 7%.
Anderson says gang conflicts accounted for more than half of the recorded murders. Interpersonal conflicts, among other factors, accounted for the remaining 35% of crimes.
We note the significant number of murders from interpersonal conflicts impacting police divisions. We renew our appeal to citizens. If you are aware of a domestic dispute or other interpersonal conflict, report it to the police.
The commissioner, who was giving an overview of the country's security and legislative position, highlighted the effectiveness of the new Firearms Act. Comparatively, he said last year, 348 charges were laid against 187 people.
This year, for January, 131 charges have been laid against 75 persons under this act.
Concluding his presentation, Anderson encouraged young people to join the force if they see themselves as a beacon of change, and reassures that the JCF will fulfill its mandate.
We have a clear roadmap for the organization in 2023, and we are confident that we'll be able to continue to make progress in all areas of our law enforcement, our force development, and our engagement strategies.
Nasika Aliman reporting for CVM Live.
Illegal immigration, shooting arrests, and more in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline has this police report.
Police have charged two men for illegally entering the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. On February 6th, Danny Henry, a 45-year-old national of Dominica, and Bryson Desir, a 25-year-old national of Haiti, were charged for the offenses of illegal entry at a port that is not a formal port of entry and disembarking without the consent of an immigration officer. They remain in police custody. According to police, 15 individuals were taken into custody following a report made to the police about a boat coming ashore at Gallows Bay, Nevis. The report was received on February 3rd at about 6 p.m. The information given also stated that two males came out of the boat and were walking towards Bath Village. Officers from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the St. Kitts and Nevis Customs and Excise Department responded. The two males were found in Bath Village and were stopped and questioned. It was revealed that the men were nationals of Dominica and Haiti. It was also revealed that they arrived on a motor vessel that was anchored off the coast in the Gallows Bay area. They made their way to the shore using a dinghy. Officers accompanied the men to the vessels where they found 13 nationals of Haiti, 10 adults and 3 juveniles on board. They were all detained by the police pending further investigations. Meanwhile, a third firearm for the year has been taken into police custody. According to the police, on February 2nd, acting on information while investigating the shooting incident at New Pond site, the police conducted a search in the wider area. As a result, One Sig Sauer .223 pistol with .380 round of ammunition were found. The firearm and round were taken into police custody. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. In another police report, an autopsy was performed on the body of 28-year-old Dequan Maloney of Upper Shore Avenue, who resided at Bird Rock, on February 3, 2023, by resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunez. Dr. Nunez concluded that the death was a result of severe head injury due to multiple gunshot wounds to the head and body. Meanwhile, the police have arrested and charged 2 individuals in relation to a shooting incident that occurred on January 31st. Sherburn and Tishon Eddy, both 28 and 18 years old respectively, of Taylor's Village, were charged on February 3, 2023 for the offences of shooting at with intent and discharging a loaded firearm in a public place to the danger of persons. They have both been remanded at Her Majesty's Prison. The arrest comes as police are investigating a report of gunshots being fired at 19-year-old Mozan Isles sometime after 10 a.m. on Tuesday last week in the New Pond site area. The crime scene was processed by personnel from the Forensic Services Unit. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
The Central Bank of the Bahamas participate in macroeconomic policy conference. ZNS News reports.
Researchers from the Central Bank of the Bahamas joining their international partners and representatives from international organizations and academia to brainstorm on economic policy matters in small open economies like the Bahamas and those across the Caribbean. Central Bank Governor John Rolls speaks to the significance of the conference.
Focused on economic policy matters in small open economies such as those in the Caribbean. We thought it was important to convene a group such as this to exchange ideas and to help persons who are working on policy issues in the region get the kind of exposure to the cutting edge theory and knowledge that would apply to these types of economies.
And once the conference comes to an end,
at the end of a conference such as this, what we expect is to have put together a collection of the works that were presented so that we can share them with the wider public in a working paper series. So there's likely going to be some electronic representation of the conference on the Central Bank's website. But the significance of the attendees here is that they do research at the macro level on economies. So some of the topics that will be covered would include those that look at inflation and the current state of affairs with inflation, as well as taking a very close look at some of the policies that countries would have pursued in the midst of the pandemic and getting out of the pandemic.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
The island nation of Haiti has moved closer to the brink of collapse. Heavily armed gangs have taken over the capital and are targeting police after the country has been without a single elected official since early January. Details in this international news report.
At a funeral in Port-au-Prince, the families of 3 fallen police officers grieved as their colleagues solemnly saluted their flag-draped coffins. In the last month, gangs have killed nearly 20 officers. Mourners lamented the lives lost and the turmoil that has engulfed the country.
Our police officers are being slain again. We will not accept that bandits rule and that they say that the government is theirs.
Elsewhere in the capital, rage. Armed protesters, some dressed in police gear, set fires in the streets, broke through the gates of the airport, and lowered the flags to half-staff to mark the deaths.
There has to be a revolution. There has to be a bloodbath. All these policemen have been killed, and the Prime Minister has not reacted.
Violent protests have persisted for months, and many Haitians are angry that the government can't keep them safe.
We've been suffering for a long time. People are dying of bullets. My mother, my child, and my sister. We will not be able to continue.
The term of Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who was appointed to office, expired February 2022, but he has yet to schedule new elections.
No one voted for him. He was not elected. He has no legitimacy. He has no right. Ariel Henry is not the president.
with no president, no legislative quorum, and the high court dysfunctional, lawlessness reigns. The UN estimates that gangs control more than half of Port-au-Prince. Late last year, the UN imposed sanctions on one of the most powerful gang leaders, Jimmy Cherizier, a former police officer known as Barbecue. He's accused of numerous atrocities, including massacres and sexual violence. But Cherizier considers himself the lesser evil.
You and your country, if you were living in these conditions, if you saw the conditions in which our people are living in, wouldn't you revolt?
Haiti and the UN have called for international peacekeepers to bolster the country's beleaguered police force.
It is our obligation to act fast. If we overcome the gangs, we will restore order and peace.
But so far, only Jamaica has offered to help, leaving Haiti to fall deeper into chaos.
Guyana's Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal appeared on Thursday before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. There he recounted several events surrounding the March 2020 elections, including when GCOM's CEO allegedly acted unlawfully. HGP's Shemar Aline has the details.
During his testimony, the AG said that on elections night, he received information about statements of polls from a geographic area under his supervision being sent to the then returning officer, Claremont Mingo.
Not the correct
that was
process
not the correct.
According to law.
That was not the correct process.
Yes.
So it was happening in a particular area. I was told about 40 odd boxes were affected. So I immediately made contact with Mr. Mingo. And he told me that he will get back to me. To his credit, he did, quite efficiently. And he informed me that he is aware of the issue, that there was some breakdown in instructions at the level of his DROs.
Nandlal added that Mingo made an undertaking to ensure that the SOPs were put in the right place. However, the AG claimed that during the national recount exercise, the APNU-AFC began objecting, noting that statutory documents were missing from the ballot boxes.
I immediately approached Mr. Keith Lowenfield and I said, we had this conversation about these documents. Of course, he accepted, he remembered, he said yes. GCOM, he received the documents. The documents are in the possession of GCOM and they are stored at Collingen as a location that GCOM apparently stores documents on the east coast of Demerara.
Moreover, the AG told the Commission that on several occasions, Keith Lowenfield, the then Chief Elections Officer, acted unlawfully several times.
Looked at, obviously, the observation reports which contain the allegations that I'm trying to refer to, made by the APNU-AFC. And he determined those allegations and determined that they rendered invalid 275,000 electors.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, Shamar Allen.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.